So the first thing I needed was a notebook or a sketchbook, and I looked on my shelf and I just so happened to have this untouched one with black paper. So I was like, oh my gosh, this one's perfect. We have to use this one, right? So I laid out the notebook and then I just began to add coats of paint on there because I wanted the color to be slightly more vibrant and to cover up the giant gold lettering of notebook across the front. So I just sat there and I painted it, I let it dry, and then I painted another coat until the whole thing was covered. I wasn't too worried about the spine though, because I knew that would get covered up. I then took some Mod Podge to seal the book itself because I really do not want to have to repaint that cover again. I made sure to avoid the spine because it's just going to get covered up anyway, and if I Mod Podge it, it's going to cause some problems. I made these small sketches by staring at an image of the Book of Vanitas for a while, just trying to get the details down, I guess, so I could figure it out and make my own little template here. After it was done drying, I got some cardboard. It doesn't really matter what cardboard. This is from a Lucky Charms cereal box. I traced out the book to the cardboard, so I could then begin recreating those sketches within the outline I just traced of the book so I could get the sizing right. Then I also traced the spine of the book to make sure that would fit properly, and I added this extra strip to the side of each of these pieces where they connect. It's hard to explain, but you'll see in a minute and know what I'm saying. At least I hope you'll know what I'm saying. So you see those squares? They're kind of like tabs that interlock, so they stagger with each other is what I'm trying to say. It's hard to explain, man. Then I just went ahead and I cut out everything, and you'll be able to really see what I was talking about here at the staggering in the squares. Okay, here we go. So see how they fit together perfectly there with the squares? That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, it needs to be like that for both sides, and they need to connect to that centerpiece. I finished cutting out all the pieces, then I traced the book again onto another piece of cardboard, and then using the pieces I already had cut out, I sat there and I tried to figure out this centerpiece here. I did the best I could, and I think I did pretty good, okay? For freehanding it, I did pretty good. For the loop on the spine of the book, this is literally all I did. I just drew this shape and I cut it and folded it, and I have no way of explaining it. It's just kind of a you figure it out situation. I started laying everything out in the book and then trying to figure out how I would get that piece to move. And what I ended up doing is cutting out a part of that gear piece in the middle and making it a layer underneath. It's kind of hard to see. And then just putting an extra piece on the piece that swings itself, and then using this little, I don't know what these are called, these little gold pieces, I don't know what they're called, to punch through them and make it so it moves. It's hard to explain, but you can see it. I also ended up tracing and cutting out a piece just like that moving one so I could hot glue them together to make it thicker, because it's going to be swinging and moving out and I don't want it to break as easy. And then a long, tedious process of using the hot glue gun and a darting needle to make little blobs for every little detail. I then painted this whole piece silver, being very careful not to get it on the book. And then I moved it across the room under my fan to dry, so it would dry faster. And I did not end up liking how thin and flimsy that little piece that sticks out right there was, because I could tell I was going to break it if I kept it that way. So I traced it on more cardboard and I cut it out to make it a little thicker and durable. Then the next hour was just me adding the small hot glue details to everything and painting them all silver. And if any of you guys are watching this because you want to attempt to make one, please be careful with hot glue. I have burned myself with hot glue so many times, it's not funny. I don't have thumbprints on one of my thumbs. It's not fun. I burnt myself again making this on my pinky. Like, be careful with the hot glue, guys. It hurts.
You did this to me, Pinky! You and all of your family and loved ones are gonna suffer at the hands of...
Anyway. After painting everything all silver, you have to put your pieces together so they line up right. And I just took a ruler and I marked the middle of all of the tabs on both sides so I knew where to fold them. And then I just folded them upward on both sides so that way they would meet in the same position. And then you set them together and you grab some wire of some sort. I just had this jewelry wire laying around. And you can see what I'm doing. I changed the camera angle so you could see it better. But you kind of want to like weave the wire in between the strips and then hot glue each piece down. I use a darting needle to push it down so I don't burn my fingers. Basically just pushing each tab down and folding it over the wire in both directions to keep it in place. Yeah, so you can see here how it looks when I'm done with that, and you can just fold the ends of that wire into itself, like into the spine, because they won't really be visible anyway, and then you can always pull and take off any of those annoying hot glue strings that are sticking off. You should be able to bend it fairly easily and use it as a hinge. If yours is a little stiff, then you probably have to work it a little bit first, or your tabs are really close together and they need a little bit more space. I ended up mixing up a slightly darker gray so that way I could paint all of the details in that color to make them stand out a little bit more. And I actually really like the look of it, so I recommend doing that. Then I just took a pencil and I traced back on all of those little details on the blade piece, I guess. I don't really remember what that piece was called. I don't think it had a name, actually. But yeah, I just took the slightly darker gray and I made all of those little details again. I did the same for the book itself, mixing up a slightly darker shade of blue to add on those little details that are there in the show, too. Then I didn't have a gem big enough for the gem on the front, so I just cut the shape out of cardboard and folded it and then put it upside down in this little half circle silicone mold, and I filled it the bottom of the cardboard with hot glue to make it a gem. Could I have bought one? Yes. Was I going to? No, because I knew I could make one. Then while that was drying, I used Mod Podge to seal off the entirety of the book because I added more details. So use the Mod Podge to seal those details and all of the metal that I just painted. And when I say all the metal, I mean all the metal. I Mod Podged everything. Then while all the Mod Podge was drying, I popped the gem out of its mold and I gave it the cardboard pieces that were sticking out a trim. Then I laid it down on some parchment paper so I could easily pull it off, and I just coated it in hot glue again. And here you see me using my fingers. Don't do that. Don't do that. I dip my finger in water so it doesn't stick, but still don't do that. This is how I get burned, man. Then I just painted the whole thing blue, and I even mixed up different shades of blue so I could add shading and make it look a little more three-dimensional. Then I just simply glued the gem onto that cardboard piece, well, metal-looking cardboard piece. I lined everything up and began to glue it together. If it's getting in the way of your mechanism, you might need to add extra cardboard supports under it to give a little bit more of a gap without it looking weird or being too uneven. So if you need to do that, go ahead, do it. I did. I just didn't do a very good job at showing you guys. Don't glue the spine because that'll make your book wonky and you won't be able to open it very easily. Just glue the two sides nice and well and the spine will just naturally fall into place if you glued the sides straight. And I actually forgot to record it, but the gaps at the top of where the cardboard and stuff touches, I glued it together and filled that up so that way it would hold together a little better. I actually liked how it looked before I did that, but it's not terrible looking at all, so it's doable. But look at the book, it looks so good. It looks just like the show and I'm so happy with it. And this notebook had the black paper too. It was just so perfect. And I'm sure you noticed, but I found a chain laying around in all of my arts and crafts stuff, so I was very happy to find that actually. So I just simply clasped it with one of the jewelry clasps around the loop I put on the spine. It looks so good though. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost forgot. While the Book of Vanitas does have black paper, the edges are red. I almost finished editing and almost posted this whole video without adding red to the edges. I almost forgot it. I used my fingers to pinch the pages together as I painted, but I recommend getting a clasp of some sort so that way paint doesn't leak between the pages and they come apart a little easier. When you try to crack the pages, you might also have to go between each page individually if your paint is too thick. Yeah, that's about it for this book. If you are using it for cosplay purposes or if you want to like make it exact just as like a replica thing, you could always like go in the show and like copy the writing into it. I'm going to use it just as a sketchbook because it works and I just thought it'd be a fun idea. Yeah, I'll probably upload a video at some point of me drawing in it. Maybe, I think I have to, like, for the first page, I have to do a case study of Vanitas page. Yeah, maybe I could record, like, a real-time video if you guys would be interested in that, or just my usual time lapses, I don't know. But yeah, that'd be fun. As always, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, go ahead and comment them. I will read your comments and I will reply. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making this, and if you guys want to see that case study of Vanitas drawing, let me know. I'm willing to do it. I just don't know if I want to do my usual time-lapse or if I want to try like a real-time video where you get to see all of the process. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making it. Turned out so well and I'm so happy with it. Thank you for watching if you made it all the way through, and I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.